And hello, everyone. Welcome to Metaphysical Communion 15, March readings. So we're going to start the month, with readings, just to make things interesting and more inviting. And welcome, Valerie. Thank you for joining me. And we're going to do hopefully a number of readings this evening, just one after the other. As many people join us or so, we're just going to try to read as many people as possible. So it's going to be a night of open spirit, okay? And whatever they give us, what they provide, that's what we shall do. Anyway, again, welcome to Metaphysical Communion 15, our March Messages Maelstrom, as I call it, because there should be spot readings on the fly, and just whatever comes through is what is going to be delivered to you. So with that one, let's begin with a little bit of an astrological countdown. And for this month, it shall be a very good and positive month. So luckily, all the planets are doing in good positions. And the first thing I'd like to report, and the most wonderful aspect, is that for the month of March, there will be no planets in retrograde. So everything's working direct, straightforward. So we will have no hindrances, no obstacles with planets, slowing down or bringing in their more, let's say, negative aspects into things, for the next 4 to 5 weeks. This doesn't happen very, very often. So we are very lucky this time. And because of that, we should have a very streamlined ending to the winter and a beautiful introduction to the spring. For we are now in late winter. And tonight, especially here in New York City, it is very, very cold. The wind chill factor has been very high since early this morning. So it feels very, very cold. In fact, it felt in the single digits at one point, very early on. And we've had some strong winds. So that adds, to the cold factor, this evening, here. And let me see, I'm going to check out and see who's here with us. Let's see, okay. So we have Valerie here with us so far. Very good. And as more people join us, we'll get more into our readings, okay? So in the meantime, this program is being recorded on Zoom. So for those of you who missed the first portion, you can always look back and see, later on Facebook Live or on Facebook, as I always post this on my page, DeAngelis Colon, Transpsychic Express, and then also on YouTube on my Metaphysical Communion channel. So that way, lots of people can see this everywhere. So that'll be a good thing, also. So I'm just looking here, checking out on the screen here for a bit, see what's up. Here, okay, very good. And we have nothing to share this evening for split screen since I'm not doing that type of event, this evening. So I'm just checking the screen here to see what we've got. And let's see. Okay, here we go. Let me just see what we have here. I'm just playing a little bit around with a Zoom. So I'm still learning it a bit here and there. So we're just getting into it for a bit. Okay, very good. Let me just get back to my normal screen here. Okay, good. Excellent. So we're there. So at this point, let's see. I'm just looking for a few more things here. Before we continue. And let's see, here we go. Okay. So let's see. So at this point, I'm just checking out a few things here. And, once we begin officially, I will ask you as usual to please, ask your questions or type them down. And then we'll get into spirit and to our readings. But continuing with our astrological report. So in addition, we have a new moon coming up shortly on March the 13th in Pisces. We are in the month of March after all, and this is the month of the final sign of the zodiac, Pisces, as well as also later on March 20th, the beginning of the new zodiacal year, which always starts with Aries. So, as they say, March comes in like a lion and marches out like a lamb. So let's see how that goes. The last few years, it really hasn't really worked out so well. It's been very unpredictable. And this year, I don't expect it to be any different after all. Um, but at this point, we do have our new moon in Pisces. So this is a month of spirituality, of high intuition. Pisces is known as the psychic sign, the most psychic metaphysical sign of the zodiac. It is the 12th sign in the horoscope, and it encompasses elements of all the previous 11 signs, into this area. So this is a very special time of the year as we culminate, our zodiological year as well as the winter season. So coming to a conclusion, new beginnings and a fresh start begin with the spring. It is the rebirth of life and light in the Northern Hemisphere. We're starting to see aspects of that already creeping in. It's in the last month or so. So it should be a fascinating seasonal change this year. So with this being the new moon in Pisces, our intuition will be at a very high peak this time. Mysticism, you may be feeling your intuition already, your senses of things very, very keen, very aware to things, with people, with events, with perhaps spirit around you. This is part of that reason why. Pisces ruling planet is Neptune. Neptune is known as the water world. Water, of course, is emotions, as we know, spiritually speaking, astrologically speaking, which is very close, to spirit and conducive to spiritual activity, spirit empowerment. So take advantage of this month to develop yourself spiritually, metaphysically, psychically. These next 3 weeks especially are prime time, for that. You can achieve a lot. And a lot of meditation, a lot of contemplation. This is a time period also of great creativity, also. We just had, Mars move into Gemini on March the 3rd. So that's going to be very good in regards to communications. Gemini is a mental, sign, and it deals a lot with communications, expression, also emotions as well. So here's where Mars gives us action, input into improving our ways of communication, getting what we feel across, very well and very clearly. And it also has a romantic slant to it as well. So this is a good time to connect with your loved ones or perhaps find a new significant other. And just the aspects are very, very good for this also. Here, so it's right at the beginning of the month. So for the next 3 weeks in particular, we're going to have a very sensitive period, a very intuitive time, a very creative time for expression, artistically as well as through verbal expression. So we're in a very fortuitous element here, and it brings a lot of good feeling, a lot of positive energy. So we certainly deserve that after so many months of being enclosed and being basically confined and not having as much freedom as we like due to the pandemic. We've reached a 1-year mark, or reaching a 1-year mark, in being basically isolated and having to be, pretty much sheltered, because of the pandemic. So, it's been a big experience for the world, and we've had to readjust and learn new ways of living and coping, and dealing with ways of dealing things with ways that we don't have the same freedom to do everything that we'd like to do. We've had to really recalibrate our senses and our habits into becoming more, let's say, within, more at home, obviously, more sheltered into place. So it's been a big period of change, learning, and adjustment. So since we do have all this time to be in our homes, we might as well take that opportunity to develop ourselves even more in whatever way we choose that to be. For those of you who are metaphysically inclined and wanting to develop and learn more about how to commune and be better educated with spirit and spirit work, this has been prime time, to do all of that by reading your books, learning more, going into yourself, connecting, communicating with those on the other side. Also, you've had more time to be able to devote to that. So this particular month signals a big time to do all of that, because as we've seen here in New York, things are going to start to reopen gradually. As the numbers have gone down with the virus, it seems to be a little more safer for, let's say, restaurants to open and accept people indoors once again. Movie theaters here in New York City are starting to open, also, and become more, finally, accepting of people, not at full capacity, obviously, but, at least, they're open, because it's safer to do that. And we're seeing that the city, at least here, is starting to gradually open up more and more. So those are positive signs. And that is what I was pretty much expecting for quite a long time, that gradually things would slowly be coming back to normal, which is very good to see. Let's hope it remains that way. We hope that people do adhere, to the protocols, even though more and more people are getting vaccinated, which is wonderful. It's one of the reasons why this small reopening is starting to happen, and hopefully more people will continue to get vaccinated, so that the numbers of people affected by the COVID-19 virus start to come down even more, and the city and other places can start to open up and begin to have people come out more and to socialize a bit more. It'll be safer. So this is the trend right now. It looks very promising. I feel it very strongly. This should continue as long as people do what they need to do. And by May, we're going to see a tremendous improvement. We'll have more freedom, more opportunities to go out more times to engage with one another. So let's see how my prophecy of last year starts to flourish, from here. So moving along with this month as the beginning for all of that, astrologically speaking, we have this wonderful new moon. So take advantage of it for new beginnings and a fresh start, especially in the realm of spirit and learning education about, psychism, mediumship, etc. Whatever way you wish to choose to do it, so be it. And from there, we have other aspects that are opening. Also, I have these few things here listed. So as we go down the month, we also have the asteroid Pallas, going into Pisces, starting tomorrow, as well. So Pallas is a very strong feminine sign and a very feminine aspect to things. So that particular planetoid or asteroid brings with it the attributes of great creativity, expansion, and growth. In that way, it brings beauty as well. So feel those energies, focus on that to be of aid to you in whatever it is that you need assistance with, whatever areas you need to grow in. That is another wonderful aspect also that we have that's flourishing also at this time. Let me just do a quick check here to see if anything else is coming through. No, okay, very good. So, in addition to that, moving along there, let's see what else we have here. So we talked about Mars in Gemini already, who's here already. We have Venus, who's going to be very prominent later on this month, also. And the planet Venus will also bring with it the realm of beauty, serenity, romance, of course. So it begins this month as well. So this is a wonderful month for a lot of good energies, for growth, for affection, for warmth, for connecting with others. Venus energy will also add to that. And that will commence, actually, I do believe, March the 21st until April 14th. So we'll have that, but it starts this month as well. And as I said before, we have no planets in retrograde, and the next retrograde planet that does occur will be actually Pluto. And that will start to retrograde, but all the way down to April the 27th. So we have a long month and a half or more of all planets direct and working, especially in our favor at full power. Take advantage of that. This does not happen very often. It's a time that we can breathe. It's a time of respite. So capitalize on it, because we don't know how long this will be when the next phase, where there will be no planets in retrograde, comes again. So that's a bit of a gift that we're receiving here at this time. We will have also a full moon coming down on the 28th of March, and that will be in the beautiful sign of Libra. So once again, another planet of love, peace, compassion, diplomacy. That happens to be Libra's ruling planet happens to be Venus. So everything falls into alignment beautifully also. And that's again towards the end, of March. So it's a beautiful month with lovely aspects. And that's going to be also a time to grow and to connect also. It will be a most beautiful, full moon. To end the month, but also to welcome the season of spring. So we have a lot of fabulous, wonderful, and helpful aspects coming to us for the next several weeks, so we can enjoy all of this. And at that point, for astrology, I think I've covered enough there for the time being. Hopefully remember all of this information. And for now, let's see, I don't have too many people here yet. Just, I think Valerie is still with us here. Yes. So at this point, Valerie, if you'd like, please, type in your question, and let's see what happens, here. Okay, we can start connecting with spirit. And as things progress, to see if more people join us. If not, I'll just switch over to Facebook, and we'll get, a population of people there, as we usually tend to do. So let's begin. I'm just going to be quiet for a moment so I can open my senses, fully, and devote my attention to this area and open up and connect. Okay, so we'll see. All right, Valerie, let's see. So I can feel the urgency immediately as you post, that question. And so things are getting a little bit anxious for you, because I picked up on that right away, instantly. I felt it right here in my heart chakra, especially. So let's see what Spirit has to say in that regard for you. So I feel the urgency, obviously, as I told you a moment ago. That is concrete. I can understand as to why things are getting a little tight, here and there for you. And there's a worry for the future, especially that we are going to have, a problem, obviously. From here, I get a sense immediately. The first thing that comes to me is to hold on. Don't worry, because I do believe that things will start to improve. There's a relaxation as I get a sense of this more than anything else coming. To me, that means that things will start to improve for you. So you don't have to feel desperate, about this later on for yourself, luckily. Hopefully these so-called stimulus checks will start to come through, and you will be the recipient, of that. So that should help you alleviate some burden. It'll give you a little bit of chance to relax a bit, about that. Later down the line, I see that things will start to improve slowly, in a sense that somehow money will start to come through in some way, for you. And I do see something somehow about money coming in for you in some other resource, in some other way. The contemplation of perhaps some sort of a secondary job in some way also is in the horizon there. I feel that kind of energy in some way. Is figuring out what to do. If we need to do something to bring in more money, we have to sell, some things that you may have in order to help, to bring in a little bit more finances, just to get that energy running for you. And then that starts to be like a catalyst. It starts, helping to bring in other things. So I see something about possibly, maybe putting some things up for sale. And hopefully that makes sense to you. That will help to start creating a cash flow. I feel like an energy of movement. It starts to form, by just doing that, taking that action, doing something that will generate more money your way, will start to open that area of things for you in the financial realm. And that will start to really flow, and more things come your way where money will start to come in parts for you. So I don't see that you have to be overly worried, especially for later on the spring, the summer. By then, especially by the fall, things will be more stabilized for you and much better. That's the immediate feeling and sense they give me right away. So I'm not worried for you. Later on. Here's where we have to be a little bit more cautious about how we're doing things and what we need to do to make sure that we have what we need. But later on, things start to streamline and start to fall into place for you. There won't be big concern, as you have, right now. So that's a positive thing. Just hold on tight. Be patient. Don't get desperate. Because I feel a form of a sense of desperation from before, especially to a degree, and that it will start to flow, start to improve, because it'll start to improve not only for you, but for many people also, as things start to improve and get better. So at this point, it's just holding on, doing what you need to do, and things will start to fall into place once again, and you can start to relax once again. So that's a good thing, there. And let's see. So that's a positive right there. I'm glad about that. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, good. You're welcome. I'm glad you're able to provide that, because I'm going through intuition immediately. They provided to me right away. That was the very first thing I felt. The anxiety, but then shortly afterward, I felt a sense of calm, and just that things will start to fall where they need to, and there won't be a desperation, happening for you. So take that there. So let's see. Let's see, at this point, I don't have anybody else coming in right now. That's interesting, because I just posted a while ago that I was going to be here on Facebook. So let's see what happens there. So give it a little more time. Maybe some more people will join us later. If no one else joins us, I'll just move over to Facebook and continue, there. But I do have a sense that things will start to improve very nicely. We just have to be patient, give it time. Of course, these things usually start with, of course, government, and the way they work or whatever is how it affects everything and everyone. So we have a new administration. They're very young. They've only been into power basically a little over a month, and it takes a while. There's been a lot happening in the last several years. So it's not going to be like, 1, 2, 3, let's fix it immediately and everything's going to be wonderful. There's been a lot of work that they've had to do, and they're starting to do it. And especially when it comes to, let's say, the vaccine, for instance, to help to hopefully bring down this virus. They're working very hard, very diligently. And we see already some positive signs and some positive results in a relatively short period of time. So that is a good sign. I feel it as a very strong positive. I feel that indeed that will be one of the main catalysts to help things set right once again with the world. The energies are changing a great deal for the better. There's still some worries there. We still have to keep alert to some problems that may come up. That is there. I feel that too. But as long as, we are diligent, aware, and alert, we can hopefully stave those things off and just keep on course and focus on improving things and making things better, once again, for everyone, in general. As I alluded to a little bit before, I feel that the spring this year is going to come in a little earlier than what was predicted. I have felt a very strong spark, as I call it, an essence of spring already making itself known since last month. A little bit unusual because we don't usually feel that essence or that change of things really coming until, let's say, more towards the end of February. And so, but already by early February, I was starting to see and get a sense, ooh, there's a sign of the spring essence already appearing very strongly, small, but strong and significant. And it makes certain aspects of itself known in the atmosphere, at least in the etheric atmosphere. And because I am aware and attuned to that, I immediately picked up on it. I said, And a few little things that were coming in the way. We had some mild weather also. That was not the normal for last month. And then we had some very, very cold, blasting through. So we had a lot of up and down with extremes last month. So that was very peculiar, also to witness, because winter still had to stay in its place and make itself known. I mean, it was the principal season after all, and it had to express itself. That is to add balance, to the planet. And it's better, overall for the ecology of the planet and the spirit of the world as well. It keeps everything equalized as it should be. But I did feel a strong surge, even just shortly after it was predicted that we would have 6 more weeks of winter. And I did feel that as well, but then a little shortly after, but there's a few things that indicate something else also, that may not be, that we're going to have such a cold winter for the next 6 weeks, at least not completely. And we're certainly starting to see aspects. Right now, we're just very cold, but that's normal for this time of the year still. We're at the very, very beginning of March after all. But more and more I can feel and see the spring essence coming. It's getting lighter a lot sooner than usual, if you've noticed already as well. Sometimes it's close to 6 o'clock and it's still fairly light, where just the month before it was 4:30 or so and it was pitch dark. That's a drastic and fast change. That shouldn't be happening that quickly. So we're getting light coming a little earlier into the northern hemisphere here. So that's another sign of things, going well. Yes, you noticed it too. I'm glad, to get that confirmation from you, Valerie. And so that is a positive sign that, the world is starting to bring in light once again and earlier than usual. The world knows, the world is a living organism after all. The world knows that we're in trouble here. It feels it, it sees it, it senses it. By bringing in a little light, it helps. It gives us a sign of positive hope, something to look forward to. It gives us strength, emotional, strength, to persevere, to keep going. There's light on the horizon, and the world is sending that sign, to us. I feel an energy of warmth, actually, on a metaphysical level, that is quickly approaching us, too. Very significant and well needed. It's trying to assist the planet to heal. As we know, a warmer weather tends to kill off the virus or make it weaker as well. So that could be very helpful. Also, as we noticed last summer, we were still in the pandemic, but yet people were able to get out more and do more. And if they would have adhered a bit more to the protocols, we wouldn't have had surges of things happen last summer as it did, because things were starting to improve. People were getting out more. We were able to, to go out and go to places. More places were opening once again. Restaurants were open, even though it was outdoor mainly, but it was open. We were able to get out, get some sun. And at least here in New York, it improved a great deal. Other places, even including here in New York, people started congregating. They just couldn't do what they needed to do. And unfortunately, we had surges of the virus once again because of that, even though they cracked down on it and kind of dispelled it. But it wasn't the most pleasant thing, because we would have been far more improved if everybody just would have continued doing what they needed to do all the way through. Nevertheless, we did have a bit of freedom more, and we've still continued even in the fall or so. And then again, the cold weather, people are more indoors anyway. And we had, surge here and there, more because of things also. But now we have the vaccine. That's going to make a dramatic change. We're seeing it happening already. I'm certain by this fall, it will be tremendous, the change. Will we back to complete normalcy? I don't get a sense that indeed we are going to be at 100% yet. But it'll certainly be a whole lot better than we are experiencing now. And by, let's say, December, I feel that's when we're really going to see a major more change back to a more normal way of existing. So we'll be able to celebrate, more, and more things will be open. There'll be more accessibility. That is what my senses tell me. That is what I've always been attuned to as well. So let's see what happens, there. At this point, let's see. Nobody else has joined us. And I just need to look at the time, which for some reason I'm not seeing here. Hold on a second. Let me see. Unfortunately, I don't have a time telling device on me. Oh, yes, I do. Hold on. Excuse me 1 second. Let me check my phone. It's 9:43 at this time. Nobody else has joined us. So what I'm going to do, Valerie, is that I'm going to close off here for now, and then I'm going to move this over to Facebook then and see if we can get more of an audience, to join, for this evening's programming. Okay, so if you like, please, join me on Facebook. Then I should be there in a few minutes, as long as things connect properly. Okay. So good, I'm glad. So I'm going to just end this at the 45-minute mark, so we can have that there. And we'll have a program at least, here. You'll present. You'll also, on Facebook, record it. And then we'll move it from there. So I'm just waiting for it to be 9:45. And then we'll just continue with, spot readings from there. And I do believe we'll get more of a group, as they tend to really focus more on Facebook than on Zoom. Even though I had a good crowd last week, but let's see what happens. Things change or so, whatever. You never know. It's always unpredictable. So let me just wait for the 9:45 mark here on my timer. And then we'll end this temporarily. And I'll see you on Facebook then. So let's see, just give it 1 more minute or a few more seconds, and we'll connect from there. So those of you who wish, you can, if you're seeing me in some way, join me on Facebook. We'll be there. All right, so we'll connect in a few minutes. See you then.